Hey, it's W5HRO. I have an update. This, as you can see, I got a bigger transformer on here now. If you haven't noticed, you can see that new shiny sticker on there, on that one. This is the one that was on here. So I thought the other day I should double check this thing. This was like about a week ago. And I found that, like I said, the sticker was off of this thing and I didn't know what brand it was, but this number was real faint. And I was able to make it out, and I typed in the number power transformer in a Google search, and it came up with the Thornton part number, and that's it. And unfortunately, this was only a 120 mil transformer. It was a 360-0360, so 360 times 2 at 120 mils. And I remembered what happened when I went to build this thing years ago, when I was collecting the parts in the late 80s, early 90s, when I was getting ready to put it together. I was building this thing right out of the old Bill Orr handbook, the late 50s handbook. It was the general purpose speech amp, modulator, basically using the 6SJ7, the 6N7, going to the two 6B4Gs, and of course I was using 6A3s. And it spec'd out a 150 mil transformer with this same rating, but 150 milliamps, right? So I couldn't find one. This is before the internet, and I searched around. What I needed was like an old Stancore PC 8411, I believe is the right part number. And I saw in the Bill Orr handbook down there, I went back and I looked at I pulled out the old circuit, and I looked, sure enough, he spec'd that Stancore transformer. And I remembered, I tried to find one of those years ago and I couldn't find it. So now I know, and now that I know that I had the current meter in the plate lead, mainly the lead going down to the steering tap of the driver transformer for the 6A3s. So when I would set this thing, so what I figured out was, what I went back and I did is I calculated all the currents. The 6A3s, the 6N7, the 6SJ7 was just drawing normal at static bias at idle. It was around 125, 126 mils when I calculated everything out for all the tubes. Well, I had a 120 mil transformer, so when I would set that thing for its idle bias, when I went to put more, mic gain into it to try to go through to drive the 810s, well, you know what's happening, right? This transformer was out of steam. So the voltage was dropping way back, and that's what was causing that current meter to fall back so far. That current meter should just kind of bounce around that static bias around 8 and maybe bounce up to like 100, maybe even a little more at times. And I doubt even this one will make it do that. But, we'll see what happens. But that was my problem, and that's what I figured out. So I went searching around for a transformer. I could find some Stancore PC84 11s on eBay, like I said, but they're like way too expensive, and they're old pullouts, and they're just, no way. I'm not spending $400 on an old pullout transformer that might last a month before it burns out. Heck no. So I just happened to search around, and I came across a picture of one that Allied made. So I did some searching, and I came to find out that this was being made for Allied, and I found a picture online with the Allied electronic sticker on it. And it looks like Hammond started making these things for Allied in 2001, and I was thinking it's probably back due to, there were still a lot of people, and that was the collector craze. There were still people doing a lot of tube stuff and really getting into this. Maybe they had customers calling, looking for this part number. Of course, they hadn't made the thing since the late 60s, 70s, so maybe they called Hammond and had them build them a few. I don't know, but Hammond still makes them, and I found them, and they had a couple in stock when I went to look for them. So that's the old Stancore, PC 8411, but it's a little bit beefier now because it was supposed to be a 150 mil transformer. Now it says 173. And of course, the 6.3 volts is a half an amp higher than the old Stancore was, which is even better, but that's good. So this should do what I need it to do. This should let the 6AS7 drive everything, the 810s properly, and then these tubes here won't be drawing all the extra current I need. And I also have the other two parts will be here tomorrow. I also have a Hammond. It's a 10 Henry 150 mil choke. It's in a black housing like this, just a small one that I'm going to retrofit here, I think, too, because I want the bigger choke. And I already put the bigger caps in here, These are, look what I did, because I'm not using the 5Y3, I'm going to solid state these guys out. That's a 4-way 40 mic, but a 525 volts, so I'm going to beef up the capacitance on this supply. I may just go with choke input. What I want to do, though, is I'm thinking about adding one of these time delay boards. Has anybody tried letting the filaments warm up and let this power all the, because this is the problem is this is not a separate plate transformer and separate filament transformers. This is a power transformer. It's everything in one. So I can't just, I can lift the center tap to the high voltage line, but I can do that. I can lift it on the 360 0360. That's going to be the zero lead, the red yellow lead. I'm thinking I might be able to leave that floating from ground at power up. Then after 30 seconds it grounds it, maybe, because will that work? Can you do that? Can you have the AC going through the two diodes? Because it's not going to have a path to ground until that center tap's grounded, right? Or will it through the tubes? Maybe it'll do it down through the tube to the cathodes. I don't know. I'm wondering what would happen. Can I disconnect and connect that center tap with the high voltage winding on this? That's something I'm going to play with and see what it'll do. I need to research that. Maybe it will. But this is what I've got, and I've already retrofitted this out tonight. So let me turn this over, and I'll show you this thing. Now it's even heavier than what it was, but luckily it's not too heavy. And this is cool, man. I mean, this is going to work nice. So, but see, what I did was I stripped this puppy, and I put all new tube sockets on. Like I said, those caps are new, and I'm going to go in here. I'm going to rewire everything. And I went ahead and I decided I'm even going to use 1 watt resistors. I got a big assortment, one of these big kits of these 1 watt resistors. There's like 10 or so of each of them in that pack, maybe more. So I'm going to do 1 watts on everything except for the big dropping ones that I need, of course. So I thought all the coupling ones, like the 470 and the ones going from the cathodes to ground, I'm going to, instead of using half watts, I'm going to use 1 watts. And these are 1% tolerance too, so those are even better. Those are going to be a lot closer. So let me get the wiring this thing up, and when I get the other parts and I get them all mounted, I'll get that all wired up. And when I get it ready to test out, I'll do another video and we'll see how it goes. 73s for now. Oh, wait a second. I almost forgot one thing. Let me, before I finish. In my previous videos and on my previous circuits, the driver transformer, I'm going to use to couple the 6J5 to the 6AS7 tube. I spec'd a Hammond 124B, and when I originally went to get all the parts for this, I was originally going to use a couple 6N7s and push-pull parallel, but then I realized my driver transformer probably won't, the KW1 driver transformer to the 810s probably wouldn't handle that double power. So I thought it might burn it up, and I thought that's probably a bad idea. So I decided to go the buffer 6AS7 mod instead. But I thought, and see, here's the parts. Let me show you real quick. I was going through these the other day because I went through, and I got the 6J5, 6SK7, and I've even got another brand new 6S J7, the speech amp tube, and these are all the glass ones. There's the new current meter for it too, but there's those 6N7s. I was gonna, like I said, do a couple of them. What I figured out was, this is a dual twin triode. It's a dual triode, right? Twin triode. And one of these, the plates, if you put them in parallel, they got a common cathode, right? So if you put the plates in parallel, it's the same thing as two 6B4Gs or two 6A3s in parallel. It's like the same thing. So I thought, one of these in parallel with another one in parallel, push-pull with that 124B transformer, that would work fantastic, right? But then I thought about it with that KW1 driver transformer for the 810s, probably can't handle that extra drive power, so I changed my mind. But the problem was I'd already bought the Hammond, the 124B. Well, I got to looking at it the other day, about a week ago, and I realized, wait a minute, that doesn't have the split secondary. I need the dual windings on the secondary to do the buffer mod. And I got to looking, and it's the 124 4E is the one that I need. And that's the one this is gonna be here tomorrow. I ordered it from DigiKey. It's gonna be here tomorrow. You're not gonna believe what these things cost nowadays. Part of this may be due to the current tariffs and stuff because it's coming from Canada. So that could be part of the problem, right? But I looked at this thing, see, it's got the split winding. This is a 3-to-1 step up, which is exactly what I need. And the response on this, believe it or not, is better than the one with the nickel core. This thing is completely flat. And then you got a peak that goes way up, starting about, past 20,000 hertz, which is past the audio frequency range. This thing is going to work. This has got a better curve than the 124B with the nickel core. This has got a steel core, but the curve's better on it. Look at the one on the 124B. The curve's not this nice. It actually rolls off on the high end and low end. It rolls off like about here, and it rounds off like past 2 or 3 kcs, and it rounds off on the low end. This one doesn't do that. So that's what I'm going to have in there. Like I said, it'll be here tomorrow, along with a Hammond 10 Henry 150 milliamp choke that I'm going to probably retrofit and get rid of this smaller one. So like I said, I'm beefing this puppy up. So I wanted to clarify that. Don't go by what I said. If you're going to do the 6AS7 buffer mod, don't use the B. You got to have the E. You got to have the split secondary. So that's all I have for now. Like I said, when I get this thing all wired up and I get ready to test out, I'll upload another video. I'll do another one and upload it. 73s for now.